It's just so awesome because God has given us an entryway into every problem, every situation, everything that comes about, that we can be overcomers. We can be victorious in every area of our lives if we just understand how to pray and how all these kinds of prayers work. They cover every adversity, every problem, every difficulty, anything that comes in your path. You're going to be able to be more than a conqueror. That's why he was saying, get excited because you're more than a conqueror and you're victorious, and that every trial, every tribulation that you go through requires you to go into the presence of God to reverse it. So I want you to think about this. Satan runs this world, but God controls everything that happens. And everything in the world that's happening is not God, it's Satan, because sometimes we think, well, if God's running everything, everything's all messed up. No, Satan is the God of this world. But we as believers have the word and we have prayer that allows us to enter that throne of grace. That throne of grace releases the power to go back to reverse anything that Satan puts on us. That's the reason why we can say no weapon formed against us can prosper. No foul tongue shall prevail. But he says, Pastor, tell them the first step that they're going to have to take in order to see their prayers come to pass. And I want you to know a lot of people not getting their prayers answered because they didn't take this step. I want y'all to stay with me. It's 1 Peter 5th chapter 6th and 7th verse. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God. Set aside self-righteous pride so that he may exalt you to a place of honor and service at the appropriate time. Casting all of your cares, all of your anxieties, all of your worries, all of your concerns, once and for all on him, for he cares about you with deepest affection and watches over you very carefully. So I want you to think about something. Why aren't people getting their prayers answered? Do you realize that most of them are carrying those prayers with them, carrying their cares with them everywhere that they go? I want you to just think about watching a person that had a ton of weight on their back and they were praying to God to get, praying the prayer of faith to get God to move on their behalf. Do you understand that they still got the weight on their back, that they can't pray the prayer of faith? They can't believe because they're weighed down with all the problems and all the difficulties. He says, so Pastor, tell them the first thing that they need to do is pray this prayer of commitment and cast everything over to the Lord. So, Lord, I give you all the burdens. I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm giving it all over to you because I know that you're going to take care of me. I know that you love me. I know that you love my children. You love my family. You love the position I'm in. And I'm just casting everything over to you. So can you just imagine when you do that and you go in and pray for something and you no longer have the burden, you now can believe for what you prayed for. But if you're going in there and you're praying and you're coming back and worrying about everything that's going on, and I tell you, Philippians 4:6 says it. It says, be anxious or worried about nothing, but pray about everything. So he's really telling you that you can't have anxiety, you can't be concerned, you can't try to figure it out and then go pray because you still got the burden. If you're praying for your children and you cast them over to the Lord, leave it alone. And just cast it over and go on. I tell you, you'll find yourself walking around a lot lighter. You'll find yourself being able to call those things that are not as though they were. You'll find yourself being able to believe. So I want to say this to you. If you had a ton of weight on your back and you just walking along bent over trying to get to your destiny, you got your wife's prayers, your concerns with your wife, your concerns with your finances, your concern with your kid. Could you ever get your conscience clear enough to really go into the presence of God without being anxious for those things? Probably not. And it says that be anxious for nothing, but pray about everything. And then guess what? When you do that and cast everything over, that's when you get a peace about it because you know God's already taken care of it because his word can't come back void. But if you don't really understand how to pray that prayer of commitment to cast it over, there's no way you can pray the prayer of faith and get what God has for you. Somebody say amen. Because that prayer of faith said, whatsoever ye desire, when you pray, believe that you already received it. If I still got all the cares, and this is what people do all the time, they'll pray for something, then they'll stop right after the prayer and start talking about the problem, talking about what they've got to do, talking about how it's not going to work, and saying I, when they should just cast everything over to Him. Boy, I tell you, when I learned how to cast it over, it changed my destiny.